Hello everyone, and welcome back to painting part 3, the Kestrel, the young lady Kestrel. As you can see, now I'm starting using my watercolor pencils, and the color I'm using right now is Faber Castell, and it's 130, and it's like a flesh color. It's usually used for portraits. But I found that this colour was close to the chest colours between the feathers. So I'm applying it very thinly and not putting much pressure on the pencil against the paper, and defining between the hairs to make them pop a little bit more. Now here I'm using a darker one, which is like a brown colour, and this one is again Faber Castell, and is 283 for those dark sections. Now I'm going back to my watercolour paint, and the mixture I'm using is the Indian red, the Winsor Newton Indian red, with a little bit of the lamp black, Winsor Newton lamp black, to get a very dark colour. I'm also going over to prepare the next colour that I will be using as well, which is the permanent rose. So I'm watering it down, and I'm using that on this section to make it a little bit more like a base layer, a little bit pink colour before I go darker. So the paint is quite diluted, doesn't show too much, but I'm picking the lighter part of that paint to apply on the paper. I'm focusing mainly on this section of the wing, because this section, it was darker. If you look back at the reference photo, you can see that little bit is darker. And then as I go along, I push the paint out over, and that will be lighter because I'm applying water to it. Now I'm applying a little bit of burnt sienna here, because I felt that that section there was a little bit more goldy colour. So I let that bit dry, and then now I'm going over again using that dark colour that I mixed earlier, and define those dark parts of the wing, which are very tricky to do because they actually are feathers, and you still have to separate it, so you can leave a little bit of the lighter section that I originally did, which is feathers too, and they overlap these dark feathers. And the pattern, I didn't really look at the reference photo too much in detail. I sort of vaguely know where they are, and keep on looking at the reference photo for guidance, not to be precise how to apply it, because it is just too much of it. So you use a little bit of your artistic license on this. Now applying water on this section, again, there's a little bit of dirt there for some reason. So evenly apply water, and then I go over again, carry on with the dark, want this to spread a little bit as I apply it, so it doesn't look too doesn't look too softer edges is what I'm saying, so it creates softer edges. I was quite pleased how this section of the wing came out to start with, and I could have left it like that, but as usual I do like going into too much detail, and maybe I overworked it or not. That is something that I need to work on a bit more next time when I do another painting, but I was pleased with the results anyway, and I did want to make this wing stand out more, so by doing that I applied more detail later on. So in this section that I'm painting right now is actually lighter than the section above on the left side, which you will see that later on that section gets darker and darker, and this whole section here stays lighter. When you look at the reference photo, you can see that the wing is curving over and coming in as well to the left towards the body. So I had to create these dark feathers in a way that goes around the feather, so it sort of changed the direction of the paint to create that effect. The best way I think about it is when I do this is just imagine that you've got the bird right in front of you and you're painting over the bird, so you can follow the contour of the bird's body, I suppose, or the bird's wing in this case, and that helps a little bit to see it that way. Sometimes I get a little bit lost here, so I had to look at the reference photo carefully then to know where these markings were, but I wasn't too fussy about it. I just wanted a rough idea because they are a little bit more separated to create more light, and the pattern is a little bit different on this in this section. So in here I'm going again with the Indian red, and I think, yeah, I do add a little bit of lamps black. The reason why I used Indian red instead of just lamps black is because it gives it a little bit of warm colour. After all, the wing of the bird is not black, it's got browns in it and warmer browns, so I needed to do that so I don't lose that colour. By adding the Indian red does help, and it gives it a little bit more interest to the painting. then here I'm painting wet on dry paper. So just working on those darker tones, on those darker sections of the feather. And as you can see, I'm curving it, the pattern that I'm using, I'm curving it. I did go over and use a little bit of burnt sienna here because I was a bit worried that I was going too dark in between those feathers. I do go lighter on that right side later. Now in this section I'm applying water again, and this section of the feather has got like a nice golden colour, and the only way I could think of using it was the burnt sienna, so I applied it evenly where it was needed. So I'm carefully looking at the reference photo now to see where this colour is best applied. I'm always using small brushes for this, not really that big sizes, so sometimes I use a size 5, 3, 1 and 0, or even a 00 for the very small details. I'm going here with the watercolor pencils, and again this is a Faber Castell and this is a lilac color, and it's 136. When I looked at the photo reference, I could see a little bit of this lilac color on it, and also because I used it above where the bright eye is, just below the right eye, that section there was dark but also had a hint of lilac or purple from the light coming in, so I thought I'd add it on that feather as well to give it a little bit of balance. So here I'm applying, I'm mixing the lilac, this is the Winsor violet, sorry, and a bit of the Payne's grey. Because I applied the watercolor pencil, it doesn't matter because it will mix with this, so this mixture as well as I'm applying it, that watercolor pencil will dilute with it as well, so it will soften. So as you can see, I go from the left side, I go downwards, and as I go up to the right side of this section, I go upwards, away. I'm using a very small brush on this one to get to those little tiny feathers. I'm also doing a little bit of negative painting, so I'm pushing this dark colour upwards in sections to go in between the lighter colour that I applied at the beginning. So in here actually I picked up the black Faber Castell watercolor pencil. This one is $1.99, so I needed to be darker on these feathers. Just the odd feather, I'm not going too heavily on it. Now I'm going with the Faber Castell watercolor pencil 132. These are very, very light pink, or peach if you like to say, to bring out those light feathers up a little bit more. Now I'm using a little bit of water on the brush just to help, and the lilac, the Winsor violet, sorry. And that is it. So thank you very much for watching, and I will be creating part 4 for you, and that will be out very soon, hopefully this week. So keep an eye out, and we'll see you soon. Thank you. Bye.